and sad. I'll tell you what I think. Yes, it's true they're farmers, but they've been trying to make a garden, and there are lots of problems with making a garden. Let us show you just a few of our problems. We make this garden together, Russ and I. I do the supervising, and he does the work. I plant the seed, and he does the chopping and keeping it clean. It's a 50-50 proposition. But let's show you some of the problems that ordinary people right here in the city of Kennett have when they make a garden. I've indicated there's several problems. I'm not even talking about you have it clean one day and the next day you come out and the crabgrass and the morning glories have just about taken over. But that's easily remedied. Just takes a little hard work and elbow grease. Here's 2 tomato worms. I call them tomato worms. One's trying to spit all over the lens right now. There's 2 right here together. Hornworms probably are the real name for them because they look like they have a horn on the rear end there. It's hard to tell which is the front here. But tomato worms really make your life miserable. Now the only thing to do for these, as far as I'm concerned, is you just take them by the head and you drop them. Let me get this other one. Just pull him off and you drop him and then you step on him. Now that does him in. But if you find one like this, look right behind you. See that tomato worm? A wasp has gotten to him and has laid eggs all in his back. So when you see a worm with eggs like this, don't bother him. He isn't eating anything. He isn't hurting anything. And those things are mortal enemies of these tomato worms. And you want all of them to hatch out that possibly can hatch out and hunt other tomato worms to take care of them for you. So leave him alone. Just let him sit there and be an incubator for his enemies. Here's another one. Now remember, they don't eat anything at this point, so be sure you don't destroy them. Now raise the camera just a little bit to right up here. See that feller? Okay, now we found about 5 on here, several with the egg sacs already hanging on. And you see the damage they can do practically overnight to a tomato plant. But tomatoes aren't the only thing they bother. Look over here. See these green pepper plants? You can look down on the ground and you can always locate where the worms are by the feces here. But look at this. Look at that. Do you see that? Do you see that? That's the mother of all tomato worms. And it's a crazy mixed up kid because he's just going right down this green pepper bush, just eating right and left. But we'll take care of him right now. Then we had 2 beautiful rows of straight neck squash and some zucchini on the end. And of course, any of you who raise squash around here have the same problem we had very early in the season. Well, it's mid-July. Your squash just gives up and dies, and I suppose it's a matter of borers. At least we think it's borers. And you just pull the vines up one at a time and die. But even that's not what I'm talking about. We have a problem that we feel is unique, but we'd like to hear from some of you if you have the same problem. You see this hole under our barn? Now, actually, the rain of the last 3 days has filled that in, has caved it in. But we have an animal, and we have seen it last year, but not this year. We have a groundhog that comes, as far as we're able to determine, in February. He loves my snow peas, my edible pod peas. He can eat them all. He just keeps them eaten off. Then he has a varied diet of, let me show you what else he likes to eat. Look at these pole beans. They are really flourishing. I have 2 kinds planted, Kentucky Wonders and Blue Lake pole beans, which I have never tried before. But On that end, they're beautiful. But on this end, next to the barn, where our pet comes out, he comes out, and look, he can stand up. And we saw him last year. He's almost waist high when he stands up. But he stands up, and he just strips the leaves. He doesn't kill the plant as yet. He doesn't kill it. But he just he just takes all the leaves off. He thinks I've planted this garden for him. He loves the peas. He loves the beans. And we have another row of these beans behind the barn. He also likes those. So he comes out of this hole. He gets himself all of the beans he wants, and then he goes over here for another snack. He goes over here. And yesterday, he picked himself a ripe tomato, and he took it in the barn, and we evidently disturbed him because it was half eaten. An hour later, we came back, and the whole tomato is gone. If we had had a camera set up at that point, we could have gotten him, but no such luck. So he likes peas, he likes beans, he likes tomatoes, and so we said on our back fence, he likes things cut off nice and neat and even. Looks like a cow has grazed under a tree. He keeps it. And look, he's able to stand up and get things this high on me. He can stand up and just, I'd like to see him. Oh, would I like to see him pull that off and eat it. I'd like to be close enough with a gun to see him pull that off and eat it. And then he goes over, as we've said, picks himself a ripe tomato. He has a great diet, doesn't he? And here we have chopped and raped and hoed, and we're feeding who knows how many groundhogs. Now, we have asked the conservation agent about this. He indicates he has a trap, and we hope to get access to that trap and perhaps be able to catch him. We'll keep you informed what we do. Let me show you some of his other diet over here. It's exasperating. See, he just comes in and just sits here and takes the end leaf off. See, he just likes to just nip off the whole leaf and eat. I have found that if I sprinkle 7 dust on beans, sweet anything I sprinkle 7 dust on, he will leave alone until it's washed off or new leaves have come, and then he comes and gorges himself again. Another thing he loves cabbage, especially little fairly tender cabbage, and he can eat, he just spends several nights till he gets it gone. Well, he doesn't really get it gone. He just eats the top out, and then he goes to another one. He doesn't fool with the bottom part at all. Now, we like to come out to the garden after a rain and sort of play detective. Usually at the base of the beans, we can see where he has stood and eaten. But we find tracks. Of course, we don't really know how to interpret the tracks because we have dogs, we have cats, we have rabbits, we have all of these that we know. But every now and then there are unusual things, and you see where these tracks have come across here and have put the skids on right here and gone into the okra. Now, we hear that a lot of people have had the same trouble we've had this year. The tomato vines, well, look at these tomato vines. This is the later group. You saw the earlier bunch of tomatoes we have around here with tomatoes on. These are mostly just vines. There's one little bitty tomato right in there. On this whole thing, there's one, no, there are two, about this size. I don't know if you can see them or not. With all of these vines, very, very few tomatoes. Trouble is, I can't remember what variety this is. It was not Better Boy, which is my favorite. It was not Better Boy, but whatever it was, and maybe it's not its fault. Now, another little gem that happens in your garden that you have to do something about is on your purple hull peas, black eyes, whatever kind you like. We like purple hulls. You have aphids. Remember, those are the milk cows of the ants. The ants really cultivate these herds, come up and stroke them, and get that drop of exudate for food. Ants really love these aphids and take care of them, protect them. And on this bloom, they are anticipating the new pea that's going to be here. And you see they've just got it covered up. There are all sizes on there. So they just sit around and with their hands folded and going, gonna be a new pea here. Now lately, along with the beans, he enjoys a diet of fresh tomatoes, and who doesn't like green beans and fresh tomatoes? Ordinarily, I wouldn't begrudge that, but he has done none of the work, and yet he feels free to come and get himself a tomato and sit right over there and eat it. And Russ wants to mount a camera and get him when he comes back to pay. I think we've alarmed him and he's gone. But to mount the camera and see if we can get him, that involves, of course, sitting in front of a TV for hours trying to watch a groundhog come back and get something, and he might not come back for 2 days. Hopefully he won't.
You have been watching Time for Talk.